So moving on to the player reviews, and of course starting with the Premier League. As I already mentioned, Ola Aina was exceptional for Nottingham Forest in their 1-0 win over Man City, which means that they're now in pole position for that Champions League spot, and they consolidate their spot in third place. Awoni was a late substitute in this game, but next up for the boys, they play Ipswich away on Saturday, so hopefully more 3 points for them. Alex Iwobi, as I mentioned, got an assist in Fulham's 2-1 loss to Brighton. Very unlucky. The penalty that João Pedro got. João Pedro is a very good penalty winner, I won't lie to you. He just has this knack for doing interesting things that win pens. And fair play to him, he stepped up in 98 minutes and dispatched the pen. But Kaveh also played in this game, so commiserations to Fulham boys. And next up for them, they play Tottenham at Craven Cottage on Sunday. So they should get back to winning ways, hopefully. Wilfred Ndidi, I don't even know what to say about Leicester again. Yes, they lost 1-0 to Chelsea, so you can say it wasn't too bad. But Leicester are going down. And let's see what Ndidi does in the summer. Next up for Ndidi and Co, they play Manchester United at home on Sunday. We know Man United's woes and how Man United were lucky to beat Leicester in the FA Cup. So this should be quite a close game between two teams that are, in the bottom half of the Premier League, so to speak. And as for the Southampton boys, both Aribo and Onuachu came on in the 83rd minute as they lost 3-1 to Liverpool. They were actually winning this game 1-0 at halftime, courtesy of a goal from Smallbone. But Liverpool got 2 dodgy penalties. I don't want to talk too much, but anyway, since PJ Omel is not around for Champions League, we see what happened today with PSG. Ici c'est Paris. And anyway, Southampton's boys, their next game is against Wolverhampton at home, so that's a relegation battle, but we know Southampton are definitely going down. So let the boys just enjoy themselves, and hopefully Aribo can start the game as he prepares to join the national team camp, because after this weekend we'll have the international break. What other results did not include Nigerian players? We saw Crystal Palace beat Ipswich Town 1-0. We saw Aston Villa beat Brentford 1-0. We saw Wolves draw 1-1 with Everton in the late kickoff on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we saw Tottenham draw 2-2 against Bournemouth. How Bournemouth did not win this game 5-0 is beyond me. But this is why you have to take your chances, and why the most important thing in football is putting the ball in the back of the net. Manchester United drew 1-1 with Arsenal. We saw Bruno Fernandes score a free kick. I don't know what was happening at Arsenal's wall, man. Anthony Taylor put them like 12 yards behind. But shout out to Declan Rice for outstanding performance. Although Arsenal and Arteta, I don't know if we'll forgive you for this Premier League campaign you showed up this year, man. You'll be telling us about phase 1 to phase 5. Project. And now we're 15 points behind Liverpool. Explain that to me. But you know what? It is what it is. It's not about Arsenal today. And then we saw Newcastle beat West Ham 1-0 yesterday on Monday in the Monday Night Football game. What are the Premier League games to look forward to before the international break comes? Everton will play West Ham in a 3 p.m. kickoff game on Saturday. There's no early kickoff on Saturday. Southampton hosts Wolverhampton as well in a 3 p.m. kickoff. This is all 4 p.m. Nigeria time, by the way. Ipswich Town play Nottingham Forest. Manchester City hosts Brighton at the Etihad. And Bournemouth play Brentford at home in the late Saturday kickoff. On Sunday, because of the Carling Cup final, which will be Newcastle versus Liverpool at Wembley, we've got 2 early kickoff games, which will be 2:30 p.m. in Nigeria, 1:30 p.m. in the UK. Arsenal hosts Chelsea at the Emirates, so hopefully we could get back to winning ways, because we haven't won a Premier League game in our last 3. And then Fulham hosts Tottenham at Craven Cottage at the same time. There will be a late kickoff game at 8 p.m. Nigeria time, 7 p.m. UK time, between Leicester City and Man United, so look out for that. The table, Liverpool are running with it, 70 points ready from 29 games. They're looking imperious. It's going to be done and dusted very soon. One thing to mention, though, is 4th place Chelsea on 49 points, and Fulham in 10th place with 42 points are separated by 7 points. So there's all to play for between 3rd to 10th when you look at the league table. In fact, if we even add Crystal Palace in 11th, they're on 39 points. So it's quite an interesting run towards the end of the season. And then you have the two, as I like to say, dumb and dumber. Tottenham and Man United, 13th and 14th, both with 34 points, just in their own abyss of their wilderness of nothing. So look out for that one. Moving on to Sevilla, I already mentioned Ademola Lookman's exceptional performance for Atalanta. They've done themselves a world of good, as I said. They play Inter Milan on Sunday, 7:45 p.m. kickoff in Nigeria. Their next 5 games are incredibly tricky, as I've said. Inter at home, Fiorentina away, Lazio at home, Bologna at home, Milan away. all of these 5 games are teams in the top 9 sides in Serie A at the moment. But if a team is capable of continuing to flourish, it is Atalanta, especially because they have no distraction in terms of the Coppa Italia or the Champions League, and they could just focus on their league games. As for Samuel Chukwueze, he was on the bench for Milan as they came from behind to beat Lecce 3-2, but they remain 9th in the league. Fisayo Delebashi was back on the bench for Lazio after recovering from injury in their 1-1 draw against Udinese yesterday on Monday. So hopefully he'll get some minutes on Thursday in the Europa League where Lazio play Victoria Pilsen. They're 2-1 up from the first leg, so they should pretty much get a routine win into the quarterfinals. And in the league, they'll play Bologna away on Sunday. As for Maduka Okoye, very, very good to see him back in action and starting. You know, we're a bit worried about the new goalkeeper they bought in, but Maduka continues to be the best Nigerian goalkeeper in terms of his performances in big clubs. You can't take that away from him, whether the FF continue to try or not. He made 4 saves as Udinese drew 1-1 against Fisayo Delebashi's Lazio. In the Bundesliga, Nathan Teller and Victor Boniface were on the bench last week for that 3-0 thrashing that they chopped in Bayern Munich. And then over the weekend, Teller played 90 minutes and Boniface was an unused sub as Leverkusen lost at home to Werder Bremen 2-0. As I said earlier today, they also chopped the L. Nathan Teller did not come off the bench, but Victor Boniface did. But of course, to no effect on this particular occasion, unfortunately. Next up for them, it doesn't get any easier though. They play Stuttgart away on Sunday in the league. So look out for that game. Moving on to Frank Onyeka, as I said, really, really annoying that he wasn't called up for the national team. 90 minutes, he did get a yellow card, but Augsburg beat Borussia Dortmund 1-0 away. Big, big result. Unbeaten in the last 9 games. In fact, they've kept 5 straight clean sheets, and Onyeka plays as DM. So please tell me how Eric Chelle could not call up Onyeka, who has a lot of clout in the national team considering how he performed in AFCON. But somehow Alassane Yusuf in the MLS and Papa Daniel Mustafa of Niger Tornadoes merited a spot in the team. Then later they'll tell us that there's no NFF interference in Eric Chelle's selecting the list. I'm sorry, but there's some mago that sounds like it's happening here. But anyway, hopefully we'll not have to see Mustafa play or Hassan play. We move on. Gift Urban, on the other hand, him and Akpoguma both started. Urban played 80 minutes while Akpoguma came off the bench as Hoffenheim drew 1-1 against Heidenheim. I think Gift Urban's been unlucky not to have been called up for any of these 39-game selections, considering some of the players that have been called up, especially Anacho. But we leave down for another day. And of course, in La Liga, I already mentioned Umar Sadiq's winner for Valencia. Beautiful performance from Umar Sadiq. Next up, though, they play Girona away, so that's going to be a tough game on Saturday. Christian Uche as well, I touched on his amazing performance for Getafe as they beat Atletico Madrid 2-1. Next up for them, they play Osasuna away. Just a message for Christian Uche, if he sees this, please just keep your head up, man. You're a star boy. You're made for signs and wonders. Just keep doing your thing. Keep plugging away. Your time will come. And hopefully Eric Chelle will explain some of these selections. And it's quite a shame that these players don't even get calls from the national team handlers ahead of these national team squads being released to explain why they were not in the squad, so to speak. So hopefully we'll get that rectified in the future. And I already spoke on Ejuke's exploit, scoring the winning goal for Sevilla in the game against Real Sociedad, while Ako Adams was not in the squad. So next up for Sevilla, they play Atletico Bilbao at home on Sunday. And finally, in terms of the top 5 leagues, we saw George Lenikena play 16 minutes as Monaco drew 1-1 against Toulouse. NFF, go and call this boy up. He only has Nigerian nationality. Stop wasting our time. Lock this boy down. He's clearly a superstar of the future. Go and call him up. Show some wisdom for once. Anyway, next up for him, Monaco play Angers away as they continue to chase a Champions League spot. As for Moses Simon, he came off the bench to play 90 minutes as Nantes lost 1-0 to Strasbourg. They remain in 14th place with not really much to play for, and the next game is against Lille at home on Saturday. As for Chuba Akpom, he was on the bench last week for Lille's game against Dortmund, and over the weekend he came on to play 22 minutes as Lille beat Montpellier 1-0 on Saturday. We will see Chuba Akpom in action tomorrow in the Champions League against Dortmund. Lille at the home side, they've got a 1-1 draw from the first leg, so they'll be feeling confident about their chance of progressing into the quarterfinals of the Champions League to play Barcelona. So look out for that game. And then they play Nantes away on Saturday. Gabriel Oshio's Auxerre, I already mentioned his performance, 2-0 win. And next up, they play Nice away on Friday ahead of the international break. While Hamzat Ojediron's Lens, he came off the bench 83rd minute to shore up the game. Lens scored a 94th minute winner against Marseille away on Saturday. So really big result for them. And also good result for their coach Will Still, because his partner was quite ill over the week. So for him to have still come from England to go back to France and get such a big win at the Stade Velodrome is quite a big result for Lens. Next up for them, they played Rennes at home on Saturday. And that's it in terms of the top 5 leagues in Europe.